There is none tougher or more resilient than the men and women who work the land in Australia's top end. No matter what Mother Nature throws at them, these cattle families take it on the chin. So when they talk to you with tears in their eyes, you know something is terribly wrong. The recent ban on live exports to Indonesia has ripped their lives apart. Many are facing ruin, and with hundreds of thousands of their cattle stranded, countless jobs are being lost across the industry. Now, the government would have us believe the crisis ended when it allowed trade to resume. Unfortunately, it's not that easy. The damage has been done, and there's little hope of recovery.
Push up. Come on, girls. Good girls. Come on. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Marley Ranaher was born to be in the saddle. For much of her 50 years, she's woken up to this. Life on Bullo River Station.
What is it that you love about it so much?
I think probably the freedom.
Marley is as tough and competent a cattlewoman as anyone.
Come on, girls, push.
You reckon they're listening to you?
I've known them since they were babies.
Yeah.
All of them. Every single one.
But these days, mention Julia Gillard and what's being done to the live cattle export trade with Indonesia, and she can't control her emotions.
She's done a perfect job. I mean, if anyone were going to stuff something up, you couldn't do it better.
The prospect for you of not doing this anymore, what's that like?
No, don't ask me that. It's just, this is what I wanted to die doing.
It's not going to happen?
I don't think so. Not now.
You okay?
No.
No, you're not okay.
I don't feel like I'll ever be okay again.
But with the tears, there's also great anger. She says, thanks to the government, her precious Bullo River Station is now up for sale.
I actually don't care that I'm bawling on national television. I want her to know that what she's done is evil beyond words. Nobody should be allowed to do this to their people.
Marley says it as she sees it. Her despair runs so deep because there is so much to lose. Bullo River Station, 800 kilometres southwest of Darwin, is 160,000 hectares, with 8,000 head of prized cattle, and some of the most spectacular country you'll find anywhere.
Do you get crocodiles up here?
Yeah, they come right into this creek here.
It was made famous by Marley's mum, best-selling author Sarah Henderson. She wrote about her struggles to keep the property going after the death of her husband, Charles.
It was very hard to take. No lights, no water, no beds, no utensils, nothing.
It can be tough and it's a hard life, but by the same token, it's this region of Australia is breathtakingly beautiful. It really is. It's just, well, I don't know anywhere else in the world that quite compares.
To have all this, you'd think deep pockets were a must.
Watch this big fella. Watch the big fella.
But that's the problem.
Get up,
Marley,
walk up.
her husband Franz, and their 2 young sons aren't cattle barons.
Come on, babies, push. Push up, push up, push up.
This is a family operation where hard work and long hours only help make their enormous bank overdraft slightly less scary.
Grab that, drag it up for me.
So 7 weeks ago, when the cattle trade to Indonesia was suspended, the export companies could no longer buy their cattle, and things turned instantly bleak. How much have you lost because of this ban?
Millions. Our turnover is over $1 million, and we're a small property, a small family property.
And that's all just gone.
Well, at this point it is.
Of course, everyone was appalled when they saw these pictures. Australian cattle in Indonesian abattoirs being horribly treated. Images that forced the government to stop cattle being sent there.
What was your reaction when you saw what was being done to those cattle?
Mortified, absolutely shocked. I do not condone animal cruelty in any way, shape or form. I absolutely love animals. In fact, I don't even allow people to swear at my cattle in the yards, which may be a bit extreme, but that's how I feel.
You do accept that something must be done? I mean, if Australian cattle are being treated badly...
Definitely. Absolutely. Every industry in the world, your industry, doctors, lawyers, restaurants, they all have dodgy operators, all of them. And you deal with the dodgy operators. You don't destroy the industry and all the people who are doing things the right way. And my point is, there are 700 abattoirs in Indonesia, the majority of which do everything properly, up to standard.
The government's decision to slap a ban on the live export trade to Indonesia stranded hundreds of thousands of cattle across the top end and left farmers here fighting for their very existence. It came out of the blue and it couldn't have come at a worse time. Now, this latest backflip to lift the ban might sound good in Canberra, problem solved, but for the industry, the damage has already been done. You've crippled a billion-dollar industry, you've offended a major trading partner, you've stranded nearly 300,000 cattle across the top end of Australia. You've really stuffed up, haven't you?
What I've done is put in place a framework which ensures this industry for the longer term. What industry did was let down itself. A self-regulatory model didn't work, unfortunately.
The Agriculture Minister, Senator Joe Ludwig, says he had to act, and he has, demanding exporters know exactly where and how their cattle die in Indonesia. While the ban has been lifted, no cattle will leave Australia until exporters can prove that. In the meantime, cattle farmers who are not accused of mistreating their animals are left in dire straits, the collateral damage of his decision. So all those families struggling today let themselves down?
What we've ensured is that we've got a system in place now which ensures this industry has a longer term.
I'm sorry, did you hear the question? The question was, all those families up there struggling today have let themselves down?
And no, I'm talking about industry, the industry that represents them.
Do you believe that most Australian cattle are treated in that way in Indonesia?
What I believe is what I've done is appropriate.
Yeah, but I'm asking you, I'm just asking you, do you believe that most Australian cattle are treated in that way in Indonesia?
And the way I've answered that is
Can you
to
just
say...
answer it? I mean, just answer the question.
And I have.
No, you haven't. I mean, do you believe that the majority of Australian cattle going to Indonesia were treated in this way?
But
simple question.
The difficulty always is can you guarantee that no animals weren't mistreated?
Up here, the cattle are specially bred for the Indonesian market. At their peak, each is worth between $600 and $700. These cattle should be in Indonesia now, but with the ban, they missed the boat. So this small herd represents a small fortune lost.
In this paddock, there are about 400 head, which represents approximately $250,000 to us. And we, of course, have more. That's just what happens to be in this paddock.
So you just have to wave that money goodbye?
We will, because eventually they're going to be overweight, and there is a weight restriction in Indonesia, and therefore we won't be able to send them at all. So there will be absolutely no way that we can recoup this money. It's gone.
But worse, there are now too many cattle on Mali's property. Food and water will soon run low. What do you do next?
We have to shoot them. There's nothing else. We can't watch them die of thirst. That's the most horrific way to die, so we shoot them.
Will you do that?
Yes, I will.
Growing up here, bulo is in Mali's blood. Over the years, she's done everything to keep it. During the good times, she's told interested buyers to look elsewhere. Now, in the worst of times, she doesn't want them, but she desperately needs them.
We didn't make any bad decisions. We made the right ones, and we were keeping our heads above the water, but this finished us. It was the final straw.
A straw that you didn't see coming.
I don't think anyone quite saw this happening.
A 5-hour drive down the road, a short trip by Northern Territory standards, and I'm at Waterloo Station.
Welcome, Tara. Come in and we'll meet some of our cattle here.
With 630,000 hectares and 20,000 head of cattle, Dougal-Brett's operations are larger than Bullo's, but so are the losses.
So you had 2,300 earmarked for Indonesia. How much did that represent to you in dollar terms?
Oh, with the GST, around 1.5.
$1.5 million
Million.
that you thought was there in your hand.
We were 5 days off trucking. The road trains were booked.
You were ready to go.
We were ready to go. I promised the bank the repayment and the euphoria of knowing that you're going to pull off a good deal, and then the next day it's all over.
Dougal's $1.5 million contract wasn't profit, it was the money he needed to keep the property going and to pay off his overdraft.
To have $1.5 million just taken away from you, what does that do to your livelihood, your business?
It's very grim, very grim. Like it's a lot of sleepless nights. But I suppose you can't crack. The worst thing is, Tara, like what we generate for our economy of Australia is millions and millions of dollars, and our government did it to our people, their people.
But they said they were doing it to protect the cattle from being cruelly treated.
None of us condone what happens to the cattle. Like, that was disgusting. None of us knew. We did not know that was happening.
In the office, Dougal's wife Emily goes through their outstanding bills. On top of wages, overdraft and mortgage, they owe a whopping $300,000 this month, with no way to pay it.
It's such an awful situation to be put in when we can't change the situation. We're not to blame, yet we're being forced to ring people and tell them we can't pay our accounts.
How do you live with that sort of stress?
I don't know. I kept saying to Em, we've got each other, we've got our family. The government may be able to take everything, but they won't break our spirit. And we just got to keep going.
For all of their debt, Dougal and Emily hope to stay here to give their 3 children a future on the land.
How would you rate your day job?
Pretty interesting. Get lots of adrenaline hits, which is rather fun. Some people, skydive and jump off cliffs. I work out here.
You work with cattle?
Yes, exactly.
For Marley Ranaher, even the lifting of the ban won't save her or her cattle. There are still too many uncertainties. But saddest of all, she's had to tell her sons Bullo River will never be theirs.
Just a couple of years ago on this program, you said you would never ever sell Bullo River Station.
Not by choice. Shouldn't have done that.
Why does it make you cry?
I love my work, and I love this land. I'm sorry.
What are you going to do, Marley? Where are you going to go?
Don't know. No more torture. That's enough.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching 60 Minutes Australia. Subscribe to our channel now for brand new stories and exclusive clips every week. And don't miss out on our extra minute segments and full episodes of 60 Minutes on 9now.com.au and the 9Now app.